Election day just about 24 hours away right now, and the final push is on to get you to go out to the polls tomorrow to decide whether ride-sharing companies should be required by the city to undergo fingerprint background checks. Kate Whiteout live in Austin this morning with some more analysis on the issue. Good morning, Kate.
Hey, good morning, John. You know, this certainly has been a hot topic, and it's driven a lot of people to the polls for early voting. Nearly 10% of voters here in Travis County have gone to the polls to cast their ballot. So what does that mean exactly? We have Mike Kanan with the Austin Monitor here with us this morning, and you've been hearing kind of from other folks of which way this election might be going.
Yeah, veteran insider Mark Littlefield told us earlier this week that he thought he'd seen a poll that said 65% of the population would probably vote against this thing, which is interesting. Given the amount of money, of course, that the ride-sharing works folks have spent on the election.
Yeah, they've spent over $8 million. So is that campaign working in some cases because with all the money they've spent?
You know, there's been some speculation that instead of working the way they intended it to, it's working in a way that sort of works against them. I think that just anecdotally, even looking at our Facebook comments for the Monitor, we're seeing a lot of sentiment that flies against the proposition. And of course, you know, there's certainly some support out there. It's just it seems like there are a lot of anti-Prop 1 folks out there.
Well, and I was talking to former Mayor Lee Leffingwell earlier this week. He is with Ride Sharing Works, which is telling folks, please vote for Proposition 1. And he was saying, you know, it all comes down to the ballot language. It's just too confusing.
And you know, a lot of these ballot questions just are confusing. I mean, you have, if you don't pay attention to things, and a lot of folks in the city, of course, don't pay attention necessarily to local elections, you have, 30 seconds in the voting booth to decipher what this thing means. And of course, that's why you spend $8 million on an election, to try to get your message out. The message has gotten out. It's just a question of, I guess, whether or not it's been an effective one.
Well, and when talking to Leffingwell earlier this week, he said the reason he was brought on board is because he's older. He kind of speaks to the senior citizen crowd, which are the ones who go to early vote every single election. So that makes many people wonder, are they going to be listening to his side, though?
Yeah, and it's a good question. And I think, you know, we were talking just before this, and you pointed out where the sort of the hot spots of early voting had been. And I hadn't looked at that yet, and it was interesting to hear that some of those, that one of those spots was in Northwest Austin, which of course is where the tech sector is, and whether or not senior citizens come out early, it seems like perhaps if tech folks are voting, one would think that would have a significant impact on the way that this goes. I suppose we'll all see Saturday.
We will, and it was interesting looking at those early voting numbers, Mike, that UT campus had the 6th highest voting turnout, which is unusual with young voters.
Yeah, you know, it is, and more folks are targeting it. You know, Huey Ray Fisher in the HD 49 race targeted the university. Chris Riley in an unsuccessful race against, and Huey Ray was unsuccessful too, but against Kathy Toba also targeted the university. It's interesting. I mean, obviously it's a mighty population if you can command it.
Mike Kanan with the Austin Monitor. Thanks so much. And just a reminder, polls open up tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, close at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. For now, we're live in Austin. Kate Whiteout, KXAN News.
All right, Kate, thank you. Well, Proposition 1 advocates are going to be joining Lyft and Uber drivers for a rally today. As mentioned there, former Mayor Lee Leffingwell is going to be one of the speakers. The rally starts at 1:30 at Alamo Park. And Lyft is threatening to pull out of Austin if Proposition 1 fails. The drivers were sent text messages saying service is going to end 5 a.m. on Monday unless the vote passes. A Lyft spokesperson told us, though, they would continue to work with the city trying to find a solution during any sort of shutdown.